Here's how to change your entire life in just one day. Using principles from Atomic Habits, reality transurfing, and psycho-cybernetics. Now, most people try to change their lives by changing what they do. But now we're gonna do the exact opposite, which is what the 1% do. The most effective and efficient way to change your life around and become unrecognizable in just one day is by changing your identity and doing a so-called quantum leap. And this is something that you don't do next week or next month, but you can do this today. Now, I'm gonna explain everything, so just take out a notebook and take some notes, because information without implementation is just productive procrastination. Part number 1, wake up. I've broken down this video into 3 separate parts, and every single part has 4 main principles that will help you shift your identity, build discipline, build better habits, and change your life around. And now, before we get into the real sauce, we need to first build the foundation. And that starts here. Number 1, take a hard look at your life. Ask yourself this one very important question. If nothing changed over the past 5 years, would you still be happy with where you are? Chances are you're not yet in a position to be able to confidently say that if nothing changed, you'd still be happy. So it really is just about identifying your current position in life, where you want to go, and finding that North Star, your purpose, and aligning yourself in that direction. I've mentioned this quote a couple of times, but Seneca says, "No wind is favorable to the man who knows not to which port he sails." So the first step is sitting by yourself with a notebook and journal just like this, and writing down about yourself, journaling, doing some self-shadow work. And this is in order to understand what's been holding you back this whole time, where you are now, and what you have to change to get to where you want to be. We all have the income goals. We all want to make more money. We all want to improve our physiques, live a better life, improve and build our relationships. We all want to build a life we don't need to escape from. That is the goal. And the only way you get there is through 2 things, identity and discipline. Number 2, notice the patterns. And this is where journaling comes in. You see, the same problems just keep showing up for a reason. They don't just show up out of nowhere. They show up for a single particular reason. The problems that you are facing, right? The fear that you have, the tasks that you are avoiding, all of these things are pointing you where you should be going. You see, where your fear is, there is your task. And this is so important, because when you understand that nothing changes if nothing changes, you'll understand that to get to where you want to be, you're going to have to do things in a different way. And doing things differently entails doing something that's unfamiliar, something that you're not comfortable with. And that's okay. And that's where the fear comes. And that's where overcoming that fear and doing the action anyways is going to change your life. Now, let me tell you about the story of the hero and the coward. The hero and the coward, they face the same doubt, the same overthinking, and they're practically in the same spot mentally. But the coward uses the fear that he experiences to propel him away from action, to run away from the things he has to do. And that is why he's the coward. But on the other hand, the hero, he uses that same fear as the coward, but he uses it to propel him towards the action that he needs to take. And that's exactly why he's the hero, because he does it anyway. And that's such a powerful frame to hold if you want to change your life. It is taking absolute ownership over your life and using the things in your life, whether they are good or bad, not to run away from action, but to do the action that you have to do. That is going to change everything. That takes me to number 3, be brutally honest. Stop giving yourself reasons and excuses as to why things haven't changed in your life right now. Just look at the absolute facts. Stop coping, stop making excuses, stop trying to avoid reality. The harsh truth is you need to take ownership over your life, and that's exactly what I did, and that's helped me change everything. If something is your fault, then you can fix it. But if something is this guy's fault, this person's fault, society's fault, it's your family's fault, it's like this event's fault, this place, this timing, everything is like something else outside of your control, then you're just shifting blame and ownership to other people, to events, to places, to people. And that's the last thing you want to do, because if something is your fault, then you can fix it. If it's not your fault, then you can't fix it and you can't change. Changing your life and becoming unrecognizable in one day entails having that ownership. Actually knowing that you are in a position to be able to change, because everything is a result of your choices, your decisions, and the person you've decided to be. And finally, before part number 2, which is a really, really powerful part, the 4th principle. Accept that nobody is coming. Unfortunately, nobody is coming to save you. You might have family, close friends, loved ones, and yeah, they're gonna help you out. And yeah, they're gonna support you and be by your side. But ultimately, the life you live is up to your own decisions and your own mindset. Think about this. If you don't have ambition, if you are not willing to put in the work, and if you are not willing to change, then it doesn't matter how much supportive people you have around you. If you are not willing to show up and put in the work, they can't force you to do the work. They can't force you to show up as that perfect, best version of yourself. They're gonna help you, but they can't force you. And ultimately, the last piece of the puzzle is you. You are what determines how much action and inputs get done and achieved in your life, right? Because if you really think about it, like, how can you actually expect the outputs, the money, the income, the life, the relationships, the lifestyle, whatever you want? How can you expect expect the output when you're not even controlling the input. And that is really where everything changes. Understanding that nobody is gonna fix your life for you. Whether that's fair or not doesn't really matter. The market doesn't care about you. The market cares about the value you provide. At the end of the day, it's just you against you. But you can and you should seek out support, guidance, and wisdom from those around you. Now, if you're watching this video, it means that you're probably on the path to self-mastery. You've been tired of living the same life for a long time, of procrastinating, of returning to the same bad habits and the same things that have been holding you back. And you finally want to step into the new identity, the new version of yourself, who has better habits, who makes more money, who lives a better life, who's more confident and just achieved. There's a difference and a gap between the version of you now and the version of you that does the things that you have to do, the version of you that is where you want to be. And that gap is closed by exactly what we're going to be talking about in parts number 2 and most importantly, part number 3. But they build on each other, so you can't just skip. Part number 2, decide. Number 1, the first principle, decide what kind of person you want to be. Take out a journal and do some self-reflection, some shadow work. This is mandatory if you want to achieve unrecognizable change. So decide what you want to be, the type of person you want to become. Map that character, that avatar, map them out. And this is not exactly what you want to have, even though that is part of the process. This is how you want to think, how you want to feel, and who you see yourself as. Your self-image at the highest level, what does that look like? And as soon as you've mapped this person out, this version of yourself, how much money are they making? How good do they look? How do they feel? What do their habits look like? How confident and charismatic are they? How do they spend their time? Do they have bad habits? Do they have good habits? Do they procrastinate, or do they just stay focused and do the work required? That ultimate best version of yourself, what do they do? How do they think? How do they feel? And how do they spend their time? And once you've mapped those things out on paper, you can also do a visualization exercise. In the first hour after you wake up and the last hour before you go to sleep, your subconscious mind is essentially the most open. What this means is you can go deep into your beliefs, you can shift deep subconscious beliefs that have been holding you back, and you can actually replace them with beliefs that are going to help you achieve your goals. So in those 2 hours, you are going to want to do visualization. Sit down, close your eyes, and start walking down the street as that version of yourself. Just think about the details, pay attention to how they feel, pay attention to what they're doing, how they walk, what clothes they're wearing, what car they drive, and all of that. And now when you're visualizing, pay attention to the detail. Pay attention to how that version of you, how they walk, how they talk, how they feel, right? What car they drive, what clothes they're wearing, how they look, and just in general, like how they are on a day-to-day basis. And that takes me to principle number 2, raise your standards. You need to start expecting more from yourself, expecting more success, expecting more productivity, expecting more discipline. Because the truth is, you will get the success that is equivalent to your self-worth. Your income reflects your self-worth. Your habits reflect your self-worth. The way you spend your time reflects your self-worth and how you see yourself. If you have a low self-worth, then that's going to come with low confidence. That's going to come with a low self-image, low income, always struggling, never being able to build the life that you want, and always having bad habits. But once you raise your self-worth, you are going to raise everything associated to self-worth. Meaning, when you raise your own self-worth and your own self-perceived value, what happens is that you're raising everything else. Your income goes up, right? Your physique starts to look better. Your habits start to improve. You start to feel better and more confident and more charismatic on a day-to-day basis. And that is really everything. So you're going to want to raise the bar, don't lower the ceiling. Because chances are, according to psycho-cybernetics, you do have a self-imposed ceiling, which is your self-image. The same way in a car, you usually have a governed limiter, meaning you have a cap on how much the car can actually perform. So that even though the car can perform at a higher level, it's being capped at a lower level. So chances are you have a self-imposed ceiling above your head, which is your self-image and your self-worth. You're trying to work towards bigger success, towards more money, towards a more disciplined lifestyle, but you just keep falling back because you have the ceiling above your head and your self-image is holding you back. You will always take action in alignment with the way you see yourself. That is a psycho-cybernetics classic. So without raising the ceiling, raising the bar, and also raising the floor beneath you, it's always going to be hard to make sustainable change. Principle number 3, decide what you're done with. This is called the drop it protocol. This is a protocol where you write down the things in your life that are holding you back, right? You'll always get further by dropping your worst habit rather than implementing your best habit. Of course, implementing a good habit and your best habit is good, but actually removing the sabotager, removing the habit, the thing that is actually pulling you back, that is one of the biggest lever movers. So you take out a notebook and you write down, what are the 5 to 10 things that are really holding me back, whether that's the people, the actions, the habits, the ways I spend my time. Now, identifying those and making it a point to remove them from your life is going to change everything. The things that have kept you in the same spot for so long, just get rid of them. You don't need them in your life, and the moment you realize this, it's going to change everything. Humans are supposed to make forward momentum and progress. That is, if nothing is holding you back. Principle number 4, make fewer decisions. You want to remove decision fatigue, right? Decision fatigue is when you always have to think about what you're going to do. You always have to think about about, who you are, the habits that you have to do, what not to do. And this creates decision fatigue. So you want to write it down once, create a one-time system, and then remove the need to make decisions constantly. And this happens by setting yourself non-negotiable rules, non-negotiable habits, non-negotiable daily tasks, and non-negotiable behaviors, right? This removes the need to keep negotiating with yourself. Like on a Monday, you negotiate with going to the gym, with doing the habits like reading, like meditating. And then on Wednesday, you actually feel like doing it, so you do it. Because let me ask you this, I know you're serious about getting to the next step, you know, scaling your income, scaling your business, having a better physique, building a better life. I know you are serious about that. So let me ask you this. If you negotiate with the input, what do you think happens with the output? I make this analogy with YouTube videos. If I negotiate with the uploads and I upload maybe 1 to 2 times per week, which means I don't have an actual fixed aim, then by the end of the year, after 52 weeks, I'll either have 52 videos out published or I'll have 104. Now the difference between negotiating with my input, which is like sometimes when I feel like it, I'll post twice a week and sometimes I'll post once a week. The difference in 1 year is 52 videos versus 104 videos. And that's a massive difference. And that is the compounding effect in Atomic Habits. Small changes actually make a very big difference. And small negative changes actually compound and will give you negative feedback at the end of 6 months or 3 or even a year. So if you like my content, if you're liking this video and it's giving you value to change your life, then subscribe to this channel where I post weekly videos every single week about how to change your life, build that discipline, and change your identity to change the life that you live. Part number 3, commit. The last 4 principles, the most powerful principles to change your life in one day. Number 1, make it impossible to quit. Think about this. Whatever you are trying to do, if that's personal branding, if that's coaching, if that's e-com, real estate, the main principle is simple. If you don't quit, you are going to win eventually. Like if you don't quit, nothing is stopping you from getting there. It is going to take you some time. It might take you a year, it might take you 5 years or 3 years, but that doesn't matter if you're playing the long game. When it comes to success, widen your time horizon. Even though you can change your identity and change your self-image and your confidence in a single day, the real change happens when you do that consistently every single day for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. So don't leave anything up to willpower. Change your mental environment so that doing the right thing becomes the best option. Rewire your dopamine baseline, shift your dopamine baseline, start doing things that don't stimulate you too much, reduce overstimulation, destimulate yourself so that your dopamine baseline drops, and the best option out there is actually deep work. The best option becomes reading. And now reading and the get habits and the things you have to do are no longer compared to reels, stimulation, to entertainment and things that are incomparable. So remove the comparison, lower your dopamine baseline so that doing the right things feels easy. And also at the same time, change your identity around that aspect. Start to see yourself as a person who does those things. And as a result, when your self-image is aligned with being a reader, with being a person who's productive, who doesn't procrastinate, then it becomes easy to stick with those things. Principle 2, stop waiting until it feels right. You don't need the stars to align to take action, right? A lot of people come up with excuses when they want to change their life, when they want to build a business, build themselves, build their careers, whatever. They're just waiting for like the perfect moment, for the perfect planning. They need to stack and gather information and tactics and strategies before they begin. But after this video, I want you to take a look at my oldest videos on this channel. They weren't even long videos. They were literally short videos. And I would upload on my phone and the lighting was terrible. I didn't even know how to speak properly. I didn't know how to communicate. And if you just look at that video, it was far from perfect. And if you compare that to a video like this, you're gonna see a massive night and day difference. And the only reason I've been able to make progress like this is because I just started when I did, and I didn't wait for these stars to align. I didn't wait for things to be perfect. Because part of you does think that tomorrow is going to be a better day, that tomorrow you're going to be more motivated than you are today. But that's just not true. Tomorrow is going to bring with it the same problems, the same fear, the same overthinking. So just like we talked about the hero and the coward, you were going to want to be the hero and start without any confirmation. Just start, just get going, and then you will figure it out along the way. You shouldn't actually, and you can't be perfect before you start. You are perfect after 1,000 repetitions, after 10,000 hours of deep focus work. Now you'll probably never feel completely ready. Principle 3, make tomorrow mean something. Don't just treat Monday or tomorrow like any regular day. Make it a new chapter in your life and realize that one day is a long time. One day you have like 14 hours and you can do a lot of stuff, right? If you sleep for 8 hours, then 24 hours, you sleep for 8, you have 16 hours in the day. And if you actually lock in and focus, you can do a lot of stuff and a lot of important stuff for yourself, and you can move the needle in those 16 hours. Of course, you have other things and obligations and family and maybe work, but even then you still have a lot of time. And also, if you're saying that you don't have time, look at your screen time. take out your phone, check the app, the settings, look at your screen time. I'm sure it's like probably 3 to 4 hours on average if you're watching this video. It might be lower, it could be higher, but think about it. Those are literally 2, 4, or 6 hours that you can take away from your phone and actually have freed up so you can do something productive. Because think about this. How many times have you said, I will start tomorrow, I'll do it next week, and you actually never took action? That is where 99% of people lie. They lie in that gray zone, that gray area between what they know they should be doing and what they are actually doing. So every single day, embody, as we talked about, that identity that you want to become, the highest version of yourself, the person who is where you want to be, who has the success that you want. Embody that version of yourself. Think like them, feel like them, and act like them every single day. That is how you start the process of identity shifting. And number 4, keep the promise you make today. Think about this. If you have a friend and every time he tells you he's going to do something, he just doesn't do it. He tells you he's going to show up at 7, but he shows up at 9. He tells you he's going to start the business, but a couple weeks later, you saw that he did nothing. He tells you time and time again that he's going to do something and he does something else. He doesn't even do it. Now, finally, if that same friend told you he wants to be successful, he wants to make it to the top, he wants to achieve greatness, would you believe him? The answer is definitely not. But on the other hand, if you had another friend, every time they said something, they literally did that thing. They show up at 7 when they said they did. They always mean what they say. They're always in alignment with what they actually say. If they say they're going to start the business, you already see them taking action. If they say they're going to do this thing for you, they already do it for you. And time again, they have this progress record of just doing and just doing what they say. Now think about that friend. If they told you they wanted to become successful, would you believe them? 100% you would. Now what is the difference there? The difference is alignment and self-trust. Now in the exact same way, when you yourself do what you say and you keep your promises, as soon as you say, I have this goal and I want to achieve this goal, the universe is going to trust you and it's going to make it happen. But on the other hand, if you have this negative self-trust, if you don't trust yourself because you don't have evidence, you always say something and do something else, then what happens here is when you say, I want to be successful, when you say, I want to build my business and scale and do this and do this and do this and achieve all these great things, your brain doesn't trust you. The universe doesn't even trust you. Your friends don't even trust you. And as a result, you're not going to be able to get there. So tomorrow isn't the day you change your life. It is the day you change the direction of your life. And that is a big difference. And something I realized on my journey is that having knowledge and wanting to change was the easiest part. Knowledge was never the problem. The hard part is showing up for yourself even when life gets messy, even when things don't go your way, when you're unmotivated and when everything seems to be working against you. Now, accountability and systems are what have helped me achieve that level of consistency. These things have allowed me to perform at my highest level, to get the deep work done as if it's easy, to read, to do the habits, to meditate, to journal, to just be the highest version of myself, be that disciplined version, to then be able to get the success that I wanted. Now, if you're serious about becoming more disciplined, changing your consistency and shifting the identity underneath everything so that you can build better habits, build more discipline, be more productive, and scale your income and business as a result. If that's something you want to do, then click the link in the description below and check out the identity and discipline protocol. Watch that video over there and then you can book a strategy call with my team and we'll map out exactly where you are, where you've been, and what's holding you back and how you want to get to where you want to be. Your level of success never exceeds your level of discipline. Take care and you got this.